Morgan's going to now talk on some of our lovely enduring talks here that we've talked about, the stretching and the circuit training.
All right, so we've already kind of touched base on some of this, but, oh, thanks. But I just put together just a few stretches. Sometimes, you may not have access to a foam roller, or a lot of times, especially guys, hate to stretch, and they're really tight. But we talked about a little bit earlier, the importance of stretching, but you don't want to ever stretch a cold muscle. So if you want to stretch, before a competition, you want to make sure that you are, or a race or whatever, you want to make sure that you're warm, that, you have a little bit of sweat or whatever before you start that race, and then you can stretch. So like she was talking about, before my, or after my runs, I will, that's like the best time to stretch, okay? It's gonna help in your recovery and your muscles are warm. So you've got an adductor stretch, and that's one she was doing in the roller too, but you just come from the side here. You wanna hold it statically for about 20 to 30 seconds and do it like 2 or 3 times each. You don't ever wanna bounce. And the one far over here is the quad stretch. A lot of people do this one wrong, and I wanted to do a few that are easy to obtain, because a lot of people, they'll just start stretching and bouncing, or like they want to do it quick. But here, you don't want to make sure you twist your knee, that you're standing upright. And then the hamstring stretch here, laying down on your back. Another way that you can do that is if you prop your foot up a little bit, and like on a chair or something.
I can't touch my toes, so this is how I stretch my hamstring. I mean, that to me stretches my hamstring.
She's really tight.
Well, I also, haven't done anything since I ran 100 miles.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, this stretches. Okay. Same,
so you may not be able to.
This is what, the first one showing is just doing this, which really, stretches the adductors, which really it takes care of the medial, the knee pain that I was having. I do this before, at every run. I do pretty much the top two very regularly. Unfortunately, I've had a bad wrist, so for several years, so I kind of cheat, but I have to do mine this way, okay? So if anybody has any ailments, you can do it one-handed, but you don't want to do this, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do this, okay? You want to make sure you're balancing, you can do it well maintained, controlled, and hold everything. Don't bounce it.
Where's the foot? Can you pull back on your toes, or is it best to keep your foot perpendicular?
You can go back on your toes. Then you're stretching your anterior compartment.
Yeah, your anterior compartment.
So yeah.
And then with the hamstring stretch, a lot of people I see they'll bend down and just kind of bounce here. So bouncing isn't good, and it's putting a lot of pressure on your back. So whatever you do, if you want to keep your back straight, you kind of bend at your hips. Keep your back straight. You don't want to like hinge at your back.
What bouncing does is it makes that muscle want to fire, and it'll grab. And so you think it stretches more, and it does, until all of a sudden it grabs, and then it knots. And so that's kind of, one, counterproductive. Two, it puts you at risk for injury.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this top one is a hip flexor stretch. Do you want to help well, I don't know if you can demonstrate. But hip flexor stretch is going to be important, especially with a lot of running and cycling, because you've got repetitive motion here. So she's down this way, and then she's going to twist her hip a little bit out, and she'll stretch the hip flexor more there. Okay, and then these bottom two are different calf stretches. So you want to stretch with your knee straight and your knee bent, and they're definite favorites.
I have a variation of it that I like.
Definite favorite. You're going to put your foot back behind you and turn your foot in towards the midline a little bit. I don't know if y'all can see.
What happens is I'm going to turn this way. If you do it this way, the typical runner stretch, where you see how my foot is out, what I'm doing is I'm rotating through my bottom joint, so I'm kind of cheating. If you rotate that foot in, see, I can't get nearly as far. So this way I look like, wow, I could stretch forever and a day. If I turn it in, because it locks out and it's truly locking and going straight through the ankle joint, I can't get nearly as, it's a much better stretch, much more effective. I do that while I brush my teeth. I do that while I type at my computer at work, because I'm standing. I do it 4 or 5 times a day.
Throughout the day.
Standing there, brushing my teeth. It works great.
Yeah.
It helps my Achilles tendonitis.
So yeah, definitely, like she said, you want to try to do those throughout the day. If you're sitting at a desk, you can just prop your leg up straight in your chair, and then lean forward here, and you've got a hamstring stretch. So what I like to say is just create a lifestyle out of it. You know, think of things that you can do. If you have to take a break at work, stand here and pull your leg up for your quad stretch.